You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Chaos Goblin.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Chaos Goblin. How are you?
Great, Rasputin's cheerleader.
Yes.
Katie.
Rasputin. You ready to talk about
I am so ready.
part 2? But before we do, we got a couple pieces of house cleaning up top. This is our last episode for this season. So, yeah. So if anybody's new around here, we take our summers off on the main feed so we can, honestly, so I can read books that aren't biographies.
Yeah, right.
But if you need some more queens in your life over the summer break, we've got a long back catalog, and we still will be posting a few episodes over on Patreon. Nathan was just kind of doing some research on Russian royalty ghost stories. So if that's your jam, check us out over on Patreon over the summer. So, but before we actually get started, though, we have a couple of Patreon shout outs. Speaking of Patreon subscribers.
Yes, we do.
Shout out to Farah and Amanda.
Also, another shout out to another Amanda and Sveta.
So thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, new and old. And thank you to all of our listeners and subscribers everywhere. So let's get into it. Nathan, where did we leave off in the story of Alexandra Feodorovna?
Our triple Gemini British-German princess has just left her home to marry the love of her life, Tsar Nicholas of Russia. But due to her shy and reserved nature, she's not really a hit with the royal family. And all signs point to disaster when it came to celebrating her and Nikki's ascent to a throne, meaning thousands of deaths on their coronation day.
Oh, it's so tough. But like we said, it only gets better from here, right?
Yeah, about that.
But one thing we mentioned in passing in the last episode was that within their first year of marriage, Alexandra and Nicholas have their first child, a healthy, happy baby girl named Olga. Such a good Russian name, Olga.
I know, right. Now, unfortunately for Alexandra, the pressure was on to have a son because Catherine the Great's bitch-ass son, Paul, had changed the succession laws so women could no longer inherit the throne.
Can we say mommy issues?
And Alexandra was feeling that pressure. She was already struggling with her reputation, and she knew producing an heir would go a long way toward winning the people over. So she took Olga's birth a little harder than Nicholas did.
Sweet baby Nicholas. Sweet man. To comfort her, he says to her, I'm glad that our child is a girl. Had it been a boy, it would have belonged to the people. But since it's a girl, she belongs to us.
Oh, well, good husband, bad Tsar.
Yes. Accurate.
I love Katie's, if you could have seen Katie's head bow at that moment.
That is the truth. It's going to be a recurring theme. So if having one daughter wasn't enough pressure, Alexandra then had another in 1897 and another in 1899 and another in 1901. Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia. 4 beautiful, healthy daughters, but not a son in sight.
Now, because this is Queens and not some dusty history book, we don't like treating these girls like a footnote. But the sad reality is that a lot of people around Alexandra did.
Yeah.
The girls were often treated as a single unit, and their parents often just referred to them as Atma.
Because the first letter of each one of their names, Olga, Tatiana. Yeah, okay, come on. They can't have any individuality. They dressed the girls all the same. They made them share rooms when they lived in fucking palace. the girls were more or less raised as like one super child, one unit. Yeah.
Not to imply that they didn't love their daughters. I think Nicholas was an excellent girl dad.
Yeah.
But in the eyes of the dynasty, girls are good to have, but they're not the goal. And with each daughter, the pressure on Alexandra got worse and worse and worse.
It is on. It is on. Yes. And her health got worse and worse and worse, too. Alexandra isn't Jaquetta of Luxembourg, who, just like popped out 14 babies, no issues. These pregnancies were hard on her, both physically and mentally. And it wasn't helped by the fact that she wasn't exactly winning any popularity contest either.
Mm-hmm. And remember how we said that she was painfully shy? Turns out that's a problem when your job is basically attending parties and convincing people to like you.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a good dancer. She wasn't particularly fashionable. And unfortunately, she had what modern medicine would diagnose as terminal resting bitch face.
It's terminal. Sorry.
We can't get rid of it.
Yeah. Disclaimer. Alexandra, I felt this the first time we touched on her as well. Like, she is a hard one because we are so prone to want to promote the women we talk about and like talk about how awesome they were. And she
Katie's finding it hard to do that.
I genuinely think she was treated unfairly by the Russian people in a lot of ways. But she's not someone that I always found it easy to defend.
Like her beliefs are stuff that we struggle to sympathize with. Like some of the things she believes in, like the divine rights of kings, that whole thing. Because, that belief that God had handpicked Nicholas to be the Tsar, and to challenge him was to challenge God, might not be so popular, might be a big problem later.
Exactly. Now, all of that being said, our girl is under a huge amount of stress to have that baby boy. And that's when we see a phenomenon that we've really only ever discussed in like our Tudor era episodes.
Mm-hmm. Our girl has a phantom pregnancy. Ooh. Which is just wild to even think about.
Can we just discuss for a second? That is so... Phantom pregnancies, the fact that your brain can want something so bad that it manifests such extreme symptoms in the body is just insane to me.
I know. It's quite literally the mind over matter thing. It's like your mind literally does control the matter in your body in those instances. It's extreme situations like this, but there's so much pressure on these women to get pregnant and have a boy. And so, of course, mentally they put that stress on themselves, and it just causes them to have these issues.
It's just wild. And so it's unclear how many people knew about her phantom pregnancy outside of like their very inner circle, but people close to Alexandra could tell something wasn't right. And I read like this one story about like one of her ladies in waiting and one of her friends just being like, girl, I don't think this is a real pregnancy. And Alexandra's just like, nope, la 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 la, and she's just not doing well. Our girl is depressed. It's affecting her physical well-being as well.
The continuation of a 300-year dynasty, just relying on your uterus. No pressure.
No pressure, babe. Around this time, she falls under the influence of this French faith healer named Philippe de Lyon. And now we've talked about on this show a lot, like with the Madame Blavatsky and also in Victoria Woodhull, around the same time, like the spiritualism movement, just having such a huge moment. So people are attending seances, chasing mediums, and buying whatever weird natural nonsense that is being sold at this point in time.
And Philip was selling.
Yes.
He promised Alex a son, which is exactly what she wanted to hear after phantom pregnancy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is probably why she is clinging on to this phantom pregnancy so hard.
The holy man said it would happen. Or
Yeah.
yeah. And maybe her susceptibility to mysticism will be important later. Anyway, 1904, Alexandra is pregnant for real this time. After a decade of pregnancies, recoveries, criticism, pressure, everyone knows what's riding on this baby.
And then on August 12th, 1904, it's the news everyone's been waiting for. It's a boy!
It's a boy!
And Russia loses its collective minds.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Yeah. Vodka for breakfast. Yes, absolutely. The heir has arrived, and they name him Alexei, and the family is thrilled. The people are thrilled. Even people who didn't like Alex were like, okay, fair dues to the queen. She fucking did it. She did the thing.
Ugh.
Everything she has been judged and criticized for, suddenly now she's like, it's worth it. I've given Russia an heir finally.
And that lasted for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because very quickly it becomes clear that something ain't right.
Yeah.
When they cut the umbilical cord, baby bleeds. Like, a lot.
Alexandra would have been too young to remember her brother Frederick, who fell out the window and died due to his hemophilia. But she absolutely knew hemophilia existed in her family, and she would have known the signs. By the time he was a toddler, it was just painfully obvious what was happening. The heir to the Russian throne had hemophilia, and the family was desperate to keep it a secret.
Because if word got out that the only male heir was seriously ill, that could create all kinds of political problems. So Alexei was largely kept out of the public view, which naturally caused gossip. A whole new set of rumors are starting to swirl now, and, they're thinking, what's wrong with the Tsarevich? Is he, really ugly or something?
What is, they should, I kind of get the, we want privacy thing, but also it's people are just going to come up with wild stories.
Yeah.
In the modern day British royal family, Prince William and Kate Middleton, they bring their kids everywhere, for PR stuff. Could you imagine if suddenly they just stopped bringing one of them? Everybody would be like, what happened?
Are they dead?
What happened here? But is he really ugly or something? Yes. But at this point, Alexandra doesn't give a fuck what anyone's saying. She doesn't care what rumors they're coming up with, because her sole purpose in life is now keeping this baby alive.
I feel so bad for her, because at this point she's been in Russia for 10 years, and it sounds like it's been a pretty soul-sucking experience. The people in the royal court talk about her behind her back. The public thinks she's cursed, and now she finally gives the country what they need, an heir to the throne. He gets sick.
And that she knows it's a disease that he got through her line as well, Oh, so what we're getting at is that our girl is desperate for a lifeline right now. And then...
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
Get out of my house, you smelly freak. I think that is a good place to take a quick break, go and refill our drinks, and, get ready for the madness. All right. Be right back. Okay, can we talk about one of the biggest scams of adulthood?
Student loans?
Worse, wireless bills. Why am I paying $80 a month so I can watch TikToks about medieval poisoning?
To be fair, those are educational.
But genuinely, I switched to Mint Mobile, and I keep waiting for there to be some horrible catch, like I'm a peasant in a Grimm's fairy tale.
Congratulations, your phone bill is lower, but now you must marry a Habsburg.
Yep, exactly. But there wasn't a catch. Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless starting at $15
$15 a month. Unlimited talk, text, data, fast coverage on the nation's largest 5G network, and you can keep your same phone, your same number.
Which honestly feels fake.
I know. And you choose between 3, 6, or 12-month plans. So you can finally stop having a monthly phone bill lurking in the shadows like Rasputin.
Nothing should have more power over your life than Rasputin.
No. So ditch the overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/queens. That's mintmobile.com/queens. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/queens. That's it. There's no catch.
Unlike literally every royal marriage we've ever discussed, $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right. So, picture this. A greasy Siberian mystic with hypnotic eyes and huge dick energy walks into the imperial palace. His name is Grigori Rasputin, and he is here to heal your son and fuck your wife.
Well, but more important, he's about to become one of the most infamous Russian men in history, but then he's gonna fuck your wife.
Then he's gonna fuck your wife. Now, we're not going to do a full Rasputin deep dive because, frankly, that you can find that anywhere. There's so many Rasputin podcasts about this little freak. For the sake of this story, let's give you the cliff notes on Rasputin.
Remember how we said that the court was already crawling with holy men and mystics and grifters? Well, Rasputin was the final boss who had already infiltrated some of the circles of the Russian nobility.
Which is wild, considering his origins. He comes from a tiny Siberian village, dirt poor, almost no education. This is a time when, like, it wasn't super easy for people as poor as him to travel across the Russian Empire. I looked it up. Siberia today by car is 27 hours from St. Petersburg. So he is a traveled man. That's just why I'm saying it's so wild that he ever ended up at the imperial court to begin with. So the fact that he is basically now the advisor to the royal family, or about to be, is like if your weird uncle who loves posting UFO conspiracies on Facebook is suddenly like chief of staff of the White House. Actually, you know what? Given this current administration, that's not as surprising. But
normally,
in precedented times,
Anyway, he had made his way into some of the inner circles where people knew that the Tsarina was constantly stressed about the health of her son. And eventually, he meets Alexandra and promises to pray for Alexei. And after one of these encounters, Alexei seems to improve.
Oh. Now, from a modern perspective, there's a lot of possible explanations. Maybe Rasputin's presence calmed Alexandra down, which lowered the stress level throughout the entire household. And maybe Alexei even developed some kind of like psychological association with Rasputin. Like, when he's around, I feel better. Or even when he's around, mom feels better, so I feel better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe Rasputin's greatest miracle was accidentally practicing good medicine. Because around this time, some doctors were really enthusiastic about prescribing aspirin for literally everything. It was this new, painkiller magic drug that was supposed to be Yeah. But as we know now, aspirin is a blood thinner, so not really something you want to give a hemophiliac when your blood doesn't clot.
Exactly. So Rasputin is constantly telling Alexandra, leave the boy alone. Don't let the doctors touch him too much. Leave him alone. Let him rest. Do not let him take any of their medicines. Which turned out to be great advice.
Right? But regardless of why it worked, Alexandra didn't see coincidence. She saw a miracle. For the first time since Alexei's diagnosis, someone seemed capable of actually helping her son. So, Rasputin, he ain't going anywhere. The royal family even gave him a new nickname, calling him, quote-unquote, our friend.
I think that's what I called my weed dealer in college. Our friend is coming over. Yeah. If you're wondering if everyone else thought this arrangement was weird.
Oh my God, yes. Everyone thought it. Yeah, they thought it was weird as fuck because he more or less went from spiritual advisor to political advisor, which pisses everyone off. And of course, everyone said that Rasputin and Alexandra were having an affair because why not?
Why not? Well, I mean, he's fucking everybody else. So let's take a break and just kind of discuss. I don't think Alexandra would have, in a million years, with that fine-ass man that loves her so much, horrible czar, hot guy that loves her so much, she's not fucking the stinky peasant. And she's such a snob, too. What do you think?
No, absolutely not. She's got way too much on the line. We've already said her reputation is brittle at best.
Yes.
People are not looking at her great. So the last thing that she would need to do is cheat on her husband.
I also don't think she wanted to.
No, because have you seen Tsar Nicholas and have you seen Rasputin?
And also, I don't think Rasputin... He was fucking everybody else's wives, but I don't think he would have tried it with the Tsarina because it's that could go wrong in a million different ways, and he's got such a cush setup. Do you know what I mean? Why would he fuck that up?
Jeopardize it? Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no reason for him to do that. I think a lot of these rumors about her, Alexandra in specific, are made up after the fact as well.
Yeah.
There's just
it's still, the rumor still survives to this day. I mean, in that Rasputin song, it says, lover of the Russian queen. Russia's little love machine, it was a very big rumor. So our official stance, no facts, just vibes, is no.
Yeah, but by this point, people were willing to believe the worst about Alexandra. And Nicholas, he ain't helping too much.
No.
A lot of people ask why he tolerated Rasputin's presence when it's causing so much damage to the monarchy. And I think the answer is the same we've been giving this whole series. He just loves his wife.
Good husband, bad czar. And when Rasputin is around, Alexandra felt hopeful. And when Alexandra felt hopeful, Nicholas feels better. And since he genuinely believed he's God's special boy, the opinion of the people he's ruling doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. That is also a big part of Nicholas's problem from a historical standpoint, is that he doesn't fucking care what everyone else thinks. Because, public opinion is about to become a very serious problem.
Because while all of this is happening, Russia has just stumbled into a teeny tiny little war with Japan, which, spoiler alert, doesn't go well for them.
War. Good God.
Yo, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Nope.
Say it again.
Say it again. Because it's a bad time. We're about to have a bad time. I don't feel like going into the deep politics or any of the super details about the Russo Japanese War. But what you need to know is Nicholas didn't want Japan expanding. And Japan wanted to do some expanding. And just due to the mere size of Russia alone, Nicholas was sort of it's a tiny little island. We're 1/6 landmass of the world. We're just going to swoop in and stop them. And bada bing, bada boom, I'll be home by dinner kind of thing.
Yeah, that's not how it quite works, because instead, Japan absolutely handed them their ass.
Yes.
Russia lost battle after battle, which was bad news because now the economy is suffering. Public morale is at an all-time low, and now that unstoppable Russian Empire looks pretty stoppable. And a lot of people are looking around being like, what is the common denominator to all of our national problems here in Russia?
I did read one thing that was like Russia's size probably hurt it, if anything, because like it's such a giant military, but the generals from one base aren't talking to the generals at another base because they're so far from each other. And so like none of the troops were coming in with the same strategy. And Japan, well, strategy, yeah, that's kind of our thing, you know. So either way, bad. And there was no reason for them to have ever been at
Why?
Anyway. Now, for our story, the war itself isn't that important. What's important is what came next. An event called Sunday, Bloody Sunday, which is exactly as chill as it sounds. Do you know that U2 song, the Sunday, Bloody Sunday? Okay. As I was singing it, I was like, what if he doesn't know this? And he's like, why did you sing that one? This is a bummer.
By 1905, a lot of ordinary Russian people are struggling. Wages are low, working conditions are horrible, and many people genuinely believe that if Nicholas knew how bad things were, he would help them, which, bless their heart.
Bless their hearts. So thousands of people organized a peaceful march on the Winter Palace. And I cannot stress peaceful enough. Like, this was not, they're not going to overthrow the government. They're not going to start a revolution. I think it's headed by like a priest. They literally want to put a petition in the Tsar's hand because they want to have evidence that the Tsar knew the shit sandwich they were all living in.
Didn't we do a Patreon episode on this? I feel like we
maybe
the Bolshevik Revolution.
I mean, we've definitely talked about the Bolsheviks. This is a precursor.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it. Anyway, the problem is during this, the royal family was away, but the troops guarding the city were still there. And when the crowd approached, the soldiers opened fire. So absolute chaos ensued.
Men, women, children were killed. Even more were seriously injured. There's like a couple of different takes on how many people were killed. The death toll is debated, but what isn't debated is the horrible impact this had. The massacre shattered the image any like good grace Nicholas still had of him being like this loving father, God's special boy for all the children of Russia. He's here to lead us and care for us. That is gone.
Yeah. Now, did Tsar Nicholas order this to happen? Absolutely not.
No.
But were his actions maybe the reason people were marching in the first place? Yeah, that's a hard yes.
And from this point forward, he carries, I mean, it's kind of a cool nickname, but it wasn't at the moment, Bloody Nicholas. Like, it makes me think of, like, the lead singer for a metal band or something. I'm Bloody Nicholas! Yeah. But Alexandra also gets a cute little nickname, the German bitch.
Ooh. And honestly, things are never really going to recover from here. Because from this point on, the vibe in Russia is basically everyone is angry. Everyone wants change.
But Alexandra thinks everyone just needs to sit down, calm down. Remember, God put Nicholas on the throne, so there must be a plan. Which, as far as political strategies go, this one's not a winner. Not a winner.
So the civil unrest in Russia is obvious. So Nicholas is forced to make some concessions. Nicholas creates a parliament called the Duma. Then he limits it. Then he restores it. Then he limits it again. Then he dissolves it. Then he creates a whole brand new one. Oh my gosh, the people are just sitting in this and getting whiplash. They are not happy.
Alex hates it. She's like, why are we giving the peasants a say? Like, what are you doing? Because remember, up until this point, Russia was one of the last absolute monarchies that still existed, at least like in the European scene. So she is just like, what the fuck? Alex is pissed. And Nicholas never heard the end of it. I don't think they didn't keep anything from each other. So if she had big feelings about it, he was going to be hearing it.
Mm-hmm. And if there's one really cool thing about this couple is that they write nonstop and they keep diaries of everything, so we know exactly the kind of advice Alexandra was giving Nicholas because they wrote it down when it came to the Duma.
Yeah.
The gist of it is he needs to just grow a pair. So she encourages him to be more like Peter the Great, who was famously relentless and did not give a single fuck about what anyone else thought.
Yeah, her message is very clear. You are the Tsar. Like, what are you doing? In one very famous letter she wrote, Nicholas, she said, Russia needs to feel the whip.
Oh, excuse me, what the hell?
I don't love it. I don't love that at all. Like we said earlier, Alexandra's a very sympathetic person in some stories, but in other stories, it's just like she's so hard to defend. And she contains multitudes. She is...
She's layered.
She's a Gemini. She's got lots of faces, so...
Mm-hmm. So I think that might be a good place for us to take our next little ad break.
Yes. And then when we get back, we got the rest. So, yeah, hang around. Check it out. You'll be depressed. It'll be great. All right?
All right, and we're back. In 1914, Russia enters the First World War. Maybe you've heard of it. And we're not going to spend 20 minutes explaining that complicated alliance system mess, because honestly, nobody involved understood it either.
No. Huge oversweeping simplification. Austria and Serbia are fighting, and everyone else gets dragged in. Bada bing, bada boom. Europe is on fire.
I think the historically accurate phrase is that World War I was, quote unquote, this whole thing.
It was this whole thing. It absolutely was. And for Alexandra, this creates an immediate problem because Germany is on the other side of things. And remember that adorable nickname, the German bitch?
So sweet.
Not helping anything right now. So people are accusing her of being a spy for Germany.
Bullshit.
Yes.
No.
Bullshit.
It's ridiculous. Alexandra has been in Russia for 2 decades at this point. She converted to Orthodox. She's been a faithful wife to the Tsar, a devoted mother to their children. She'd never shown any strong German loyalty. And it's like, in this moment, she's definitely being like, excuse me, what do y'all fucking want from me?
What? I can't win with you fucking people. Like, maybe she should try smiling more.
Oh, God. There was no evidence that Alex was in any way working against Russia. But once the people have decided that they hate you, logic just goes doo-doo out the window.
Bye, bye, bye. And then Nicholas makes one of the most Nicholas decisions ever. He decides, I'm gonna go lead the army personally.
Oh, did we miss the part of the story where Nicholas had a long military career with tons of training?
Nope, sure didn't. That didn't happen because he had no fucking idea what he was doing. It wasn't any good for morale because people were big mad at him. So, but he goes off and he leaves Alexandra behind as the regent.
Now, we talked about a lot of amazing women who have been totally badass regents on this show, like Margaret of Austria, Catherine of Aragon, and that's just off the top of our head.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for everyone involved, Alexandra is not one of the women from that list of badass regents at all.
Sweet baby. Because who became her chief advisor?
Oh, no.
Rasputin.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And also, she just kind of sucked at the whole thing, unfortunately. She didn't have the training, though. Like, when we talk about, like, a Catherine of Aragon, her mother was Isabella of Castile.
Yeah.
You know,
From like age 3, she's like, you're going to run this city. And...
So you need to learn how to be a regent. And Alexandra, no one was going to ever predict World War I. So maybe he should have picked somebody else to be regent. But anyway, unfortunately, he picked her. And she would like appoint a minister and then the next day be like, hey, never mind, and appoint someone else. And then be like, oh, never mind, and then appoint someone else. And it's kind of like the flipping and the flopping with the Duma. And so like everyone is like, oh, did Rasputin talk her out of that appointment? And is Rasputin now telling her to go with somebody else? Which probably. Probably.
Side note, despite the fact that the empire is actively, collapsing around them, these two remain disgustingly in love with each other. Between 1914 and 1917, they exchanged roughly 1,700 letters. That's 1700.
Which
That's
is
a lot.
insane because Nicholas wasn't gone continuously between 1914 and 1917. So it's not like, oh, in 3 years they wrote 1,700 letters, which is still insane.
A lot.
But they were still seeing each other from time to time too. So like they were writing a letter like a day.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of sweet, but also super concerning because that again just goes to show you, why do y'all have so much time to write these letters? Shouldn't y'all be doing
Don't you have bigger fish to fry?
Yeah, while other regents spend time appointing competent advisors and reassuring the public, she's writing her husband a letter every day about whipping Russia into shape. And it's like, girl, what? Yeah.
Yeah, and this period of her life is honestly weird because she is doing something genuinely admirable at the point while, simultaneously making everything worse.
Yeah.
For example, she and her daughters genuinely threw themselves into hospital work during the war, and not in the PR modern sense. They are actually changing bandages, helping nurses. So it's not a little like, oh, let me go give somebody some water and call it a day.
No, they're like actually, because that's what her mom did. Her mom did charity work like that too. And so she's like, this is what we need to be doing. Unlike Alexandra, her two oldest daughters that did this with her, Olga and Tatiana, they were really popular with the people. I mean, they're everything Alexandra wasn't. They're charming. They spoke Russian. They smiled. So they were pretty welcome to like be there doing the volunteer work at the hospital. But Alexandra, it was kind of like, girl, you are too divisive to be here. Your presence is kind of, please go.
Icky, yeah.
Yeah.
Ew. She's like, even when I do charity, I can't fucking win with you people.
Win with these people. Okay, unfortunately for Alexandra, we need to switch gears. And unfortunately for everyone, we're going to talk about Rasputin some more. So like we said, a lot of people, we legit don't know if the monarchy is calling the shots or if 100% it's this weirdo Rasputin calling the shots every day.
Which is why some members of the Russian aristocracy eventually decided, you know what, we've had enough. So on December 30th of 1916, a group of nobles murdered Rasputin.
Murder. The story of Rasputin's death is very famous and also almost certainly heavily exaggerated. Yeah. But let's discuss what we've heard. Nathan, what is the story you know about Rasputin's murder?
And he gets pushed into a river or something and dies this horrible death. And
the story everyone tells is they invite him to tea and they poison his cake and they poison his tea. And he just finished the cake and finishes the tea. And it's just all right, well, bye. And then they're like, okay, well then you got to shoot him. And so they shoot him a million times. It's just this big dramatic story. And then they finally throw him in the river. But when they find him, the doctors say that his official cause of death was actually drowning. So it's this big, over-the-top, ridiculous story. It's part of Rasputin's big lore. if you will. But yeah, that story's probably bullshit.
They probably just got him drunk and pushed him in the river.
I think they just shot him. I think they just shot him and then he died. And then they threw him in the river, yeah. There was this prince, Felix Yusupov. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole about this a few years ago, actually. He, like after the revolution, spoiler alert, a lot of the Russian nobility moved to France, but they don't have like that endless income like they used to have. So they had to make a living somehow. So he writes a memoir. And what's gonna sell books? Like, we shot him and threw him in the river, or that's nowhere near as interesting as like, this man would not die, he kept coming at us, so
yeah. But whatever actually happened, the important thing is that Rasputin is dead.
Bye.
And Alexandra is devastated. Everyone else saw Rasputin as a scandal, but she saw him as the thing that was keeping her son alive. So when Rasputin's body was discovered, Alexandra is demanding an investigation and demanding a trial. But basically the courts are like, yeah, girl, about that. We have bigger problems.
We got other shit to do, girl. Because they did have bigger problems.
Yeah.
Russia is absolutely falling apart. The war is going horribly. Food is running out. The economy is crashing because they sent all the farmers to war. So there's no fucking food, and that why?
So people are starving. They're being forced to go fight and die for a cause that they don't care about. This seems like a perfect recipe for something.
You say you want a revolution. Yes, the Russia Revolution. No, but like, that's such a good point, though, because, yeah, if you're like, okay, I'm going to die of starvation or I'm going to die at a war, what do I have to lose? I'm going to...
Exactly.
Yeah.
People all over the country are looting and rioting, protesting, striking, and eventually even members of the Imperial Guard began switching sides. And that's when you're in trouble. When the people who are paid to protect you are like, you know what? I'm gonna take what's behind curtain number 2, the angry mob.
I'm gonna go with the angry mob. Oh my god. And while all this is happening, Nicholas is getting telegraphs every day of like, the city's on fire. He's receiving these reports. True to form at first, though, he's like, this is an exaggeration. Nah. Which is that's so Nicholas.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Duma finally reaches its breaking point, and they're basically like, okay, enough is enough. We've tried making suggestions, we've tried asking politely, but this is out of hand. You suck at this, and we need a change. So this Tsar has got to go.
Got to go. Choo-choo. The train is pulling up to the Abdication station.
Oh.
Here's your ticket, Nicholas.
Abdication station. Oh, God. Yeah, choo-choo. Choo-choo, choo-boogie. So, when Nicholas gets word that he's being called to abdicate, he's not at home. He's been off, still pretending to be a general. But someone has finally convinced him to get the fuck home because, there's some rioting.
Yeah.
But because of all this major clusterfuck that's going on,
scholarly term,
trains aren't running. So he's actually sitting on a motionless train when the telegraph comes through. So this situation, hopeless. Nicholas, you need to abdicate ASAP.
And honestly, Nicholas didn't really fight the situation. Partly because his generals are telling him, like, dude, it's over. And partly also because I feel like deep in his soul, he knows he's not good at this. And he's fucking tired. So on March 15th, where are the eyes of March? 1917, Tsar Nicholas abdicates, and he also abdicates on the behalf of his son as well. Because what was Alexei going to do? The stress would kill him, and everyone would see how sick he is. So he abdicates for himself and for Alexei. And after signing away a 300-year-old dynasty. Do you know what he wants?
What?
He just wants to go home.
Yeah, right after he signs it, he's like, will you let me go home to my wife and kids now?
Yeah.
Okay, again, great husband, great dad, terrible czar.
Horrible little buddy. So now, technically, the crown passes to his brother, Michael. But Michael says, absolutely the fuck not. No, thank you. So now, after more than 300 centuries? No.
Wow.
A
The
long
dawn
time.
of humanity.
After more than 3 centuries, the Romanov dynasty is no more.
And Nicholas Romanov is suddenly just that, a guy.
Just a guy.
Sitting on a train, missing his wife, and eventually he does make it home, and the family is reunited, and they lived happily ever after in the end?
See you next season.
No, because we've covered enough royal history to know exactly what happens next. Because when a monarch falls, the new government immediately has a problem, which is, what do we do with the old monarchs? Because if you let them go free, there's almost always going to be the possibility that someone tries to put him back on the throne.
I mean, we talked about it in our very first episode, Lady Jane Grey. That's why Mary had to execute her, because her dad raised a rebellion in Lady Jane Grey's name. So it's like, yeah, letting them just exist is risky. So the Romanovs are placed under house arrest. But honestly, at first, it's not terrible. Yes, it's house arrest, but it's house arrest in a palace. You know, like.
And here's the really heartbreaking part, though. The new government actually reaches out to King George V of Great Britain, who is cousins with both Alexandria and Nicholas. And they are basically like, hey, come and get your relatives.
Come get your relatives.
Take them back to England. We're fine with that. We'll leave them alone. And the family had no reason whatsoever to ever think that this would play out.
Or to think it wouldn't play out.
Sorry.
Have you ever seen the pictures of George V and Nicholas II together? They look like identical twins.
Yeah, they do.
Because their moms were sisters. Dagmar of Denmark and and his mom were sisters. It is insane. They look exactly alike. And so anyway, he's thinking, cool, family's going to come get us. And remember, Alexandra grew up really close to her British family as well. She's just thinking like, okay, we're going to go spend the rest of our lives in exile in England. I fucking love England. This is great. But George changes his mind.
Yeah, he worries that bringing the Romanovs to Britain could make him look pretty unpopular. He's worried about the public opinion. He worries about a revolution in his own country. And again, Alexandra, being German, really hurts her in this part.
Russia's backed out of the First World War. Great Britain's still in it. And so they're fighting Germany. And so to bring a German princess over, I kind of get it. But I think if George understood what was going to happen, he would have gone and got them.
Yeah.
Because didn't the British end up going to get Dagmar of Denmark?
I think, they did.
Right? Yeah. So I think once they realized the severity of the situation, they were like, oh, fuck. Unfortunately for everybody involved, George backed out. And from here on out, things get a lot worse really fast. The family has moved out of the capital. They moved them to Siberia because out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Alexandra is losing her shit because Alexei hardly survives this trip. Remember, 27 hours by car today. So
yeah.
Alexei barely survives this trip, and this takes a huge toll on Alexandra emotionally and physically.
But once they make it to Siberia, things aren't terrible. They're prisoners, but at least they've got each other.
They're together.
They can write letters, they can read, they can go for walks. It's not necessarily freedom, but things could be worse. And they might be. Yeah. It's going to get weird.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Russia is descending into chaos. A civil war is breaking out, and this group called the Bolsheviks come out on top. So that's where you, like, if you've ever heard of, like, the drink, the White Russian, the Bolsheviks were the Red Russians, and the people that were on the other side who were like, let's not kill the Tsar and his family, are the White Russians. Yeah. But yeah, the Bolsheviks do not view the Romanovs as an inconvenience. They view them as a threat to this revolution they just did, you know?
Yeah, they were very much under the opinion that the only good Romanov was a dead Romanov. So now the family's situation goes from worse to worser.
Worser. Mm-hmm.
So when they are moved again, Alexandra immediately realizes, this time this feels a little different.
It breaks my heart that though through all of this, her main concern is still her son. She's still a mother of a sick kid, you know? Mm-hmm. The empire is gone. The gold and the glamour, they're gone. But she's still a mom, desperately trying to keep her son alive.
One of the most famous stories from this period is that Alexandra instructed her daughters to sew jewels into the lining of their corsets and clothing. Like, hey girls, these new guards are super aggressive, so we might need to make a run for it. So make sure to just, sew your jewels into your clothes, so when we need it, we can take those out and use it for money.
Yeah. How Alexandra thought she was ever going to be making a run for it is beyond me. She could barely walk now. Remember, like we talked about in the first episode, she had some mobility issues from like her childhood injury. Yeah, she the stress is taking a toll on her body. She's not running from anybody.
But honestly, it doesn't matter because the Romanovs never really left this final spot.
Right.
A house that the guards ominously called the House of Special Purpose. Ooh. And if that sounds like the kind of place where nothing good is going to happen, that's because nothing good was going to happen.
And the House of Special Purpose.
Not like the House of the Rising Sun.
On July 16th, 1918, the family went about their day as normal. They played cards, Alexandra read the Bible, and they went to bed around 10. But then they were woken up around midnight, and the guards are like, hey, there's like a commotion in the city. Y'all need to be moved to a safer location. So everyone got up and got dressed and was led downstairs to the basement where they were told to wait.
And hey, we actually aren't going to go into the gory detail, but if you think you get the gist and want to end this episode now, or look at the timestamps and jump to Legacy, we're okay with that.
We're okay with that, because it sucks. So the family is standing around in the basement when a group of armed men come in, who were all drunk, by the way. Their guards were drunk. The commander of this group is like, here to inform you, you all are being executed. And they were. Like we said, we're not going to go into the details, but yeah, and they were.
Unfortunately for everyone, it was chaos. The assassins were drunk. The girls accidentally had made bulletproof vests because of all the jewels that they sewn into their clothes. But Alexandra was killed pretty much mercifully, immediately, with one shot to the head, which, yay.
I mean, And so that's all we're going to say about the execution, actually, because it is horrible, bad. As far as executions go, I mean, I guess there's never a good one, but this was botched, and it was just a bad time for everybody. And so we don't necessarily believe that Alexandra was a good person by modern day standards, but I also just don't believe she deserved this. I don't think anybody deserves this, really, and her fucking kids certainly didn't.
Yeah, and Alex of Hesse was put into a situation that no one prepared her for and that she fundamentally was not equipped for. But she fell in love with a man who also identically was unprepared and unequipped for everything.
Hey, maybe inheriting a lifelong job with never-ending power just because your dad had that same job is a bad thing.
I know. And I'd like to think that in some parallel universe, they're just two regular people who met and fell in love and lived a normal life surrounded by their beautiful family. You know, a situation where it didn't matter if she had resting bitch face and spoke horrible French, and no one cared if she liked to hang out with creepy priests.
Sure, but unfortunately, that's not the timeline. In this timeline, the entire family died on that day in 1918, despite the Anastasia rumors, which is a whole other story.
And let's talk about their legacy. So, in 1981, Alex and Nicholas were canonized and made martyrs in the Russian Orthodox Church.
Wild story. So when the guards disposed of their bodies, they just went and dumped them somewhere in the woods or whatever, and I think maybe burned them. I'm not sure. In 1979, a geologist was digging for something, as geologists do, and he found the remains of everybody. But because, well, not everybody, of the 6 of them that were disposed together. But because it's still Soviet Union in 1979, he's like, this is not going to be popular. And he just covered it back up.
Can you imagine stumbling across something that would change your career and then being like, didn't see anything.
Didn't see it. Nope. But then after the fall of the Soviet, the site was excavated, and I think 6 of them were buried in that one spot, and then 2 of them were buried somewhere else. But I think Alexei and Anastasia were the only ones not disposed of, actually not buried in the same spot that Alexandra was.
And so they did a DNA test, and they found out that she was 100% that bitch.
Yes.
And they ended up taking close relatives' DNA to identify, which is the wild thing, because they used Prince Philip, the British consort to Queen Elizabeth. They used his DNA to confirm it was them.
And it was, yes, it was positive. In 1998, Nicholas and Alexandra were buried, finally, in a manner that she would have believed was fit for God's special boy and his family. They had a huge gold ceremony in St. Petersburg for her.
So let's raise a glass to Alexandra Feodorovna. She was neither a saint nor a villain.
Well, technically she is a saint.
Oh, you're right.
She was canonized.
Okay. She could be compassionate. She could be arrogant. She was the loving mother and a loyal wife. So she wasn't perfect, but damn it, she sure is fascinating.
She sure is fascinating. So let's raise a glass to Alexandra. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for another season. We will see y'all in September.
Cheers, bitches.
Oh, cheers.